Hello students, in today's short video lecture, we will try to cover what is a disaster response plan. So, in this brief video, we will discuss all the aspects of this disaster response plan. Before we go into the details of the response plan, everyone should know what is a disaster response. So, disaster response is nothing but all the activities and reaction which is included to mitigate the particular disaster. This includes the reaction from the part of the government, from other organizations like international agencies and various NGOs, and how the people of the community who are affected are reacting to this particular disaster. All are included here. This is not the sudden. This doesn't mean that the reaction or the shock of the people is included here. This actually means the different activities which are required to mitigate or manage this particular disaster in an effective way. So then we come to what is a disaster response plan. This is a written document in which we will note down or write down all the steps and actions required to manage a disaster very well. So it starts from the preparedness stage, and it will have some actions during the disaster stage, and recovery stage also includes some of the actions. So once we get a warning of a particular disaster, what we have to do is that the detailed plan including each minute step should be prepared, and each step should be written down in this plan. So this written document is known as disaster response plan, and during the different phases of the disaster, this should act as a checklist, and we should depend upon this plan to mitigate this particular disaster. So the disaster response plan at the preparedness stage and during the disaster stage include the following steps. So a plan should be prepared about how to arrange the resources and where to keep it and how to distribute it. Detailed steps should be there, and then we have to plan how to evacuate the area, and in evacuation the people may need support in the form of transportation. So those transportation facilities should be arranged. Who would manage the particular transportation facilities, and who will arrange it, how many vehicles should be there, all these things should be mentioned in the evacuation plans. Then there should be a planning about the temporary housing facility. Sometimes the people can be transported or shifted to some already existing building like schools or halls, community halls, etc. And in some cases we have to build some temporary housing. So all the protocols required for building that particular temporary housing, to maintain the sanitation and to provide potable water and all, everything should be mentioned in this particular stage of the plan. And how to collect and where to keep the emergency relief packs, and how to distribute these packs to the people, whether we will be requiring the helicopter services or the normal vehicles will be required. All these things should be mentioned and written down well in this document. And another area is the persons who are involved in this particular management of disaster. That means we need people to help in each of the stages, and mainly for search and rescue operations. Who will be helping us during this stage? Mostly the firemen and policemen and some NGOs, all will be required to help in this particular situation. So those details should be written in the document, and these people should be intimated beforehand to get prepared for such an event. And this response plan also include the planning during the recovery stage. So once the threat of the disaster is over, people are almost ready to go back to their original place. So what are the things required to shift these people back to their normal conditions? How to recover this from this particular disaster that had already been occurred? So the first stage or step or the plan has to be about the assessment. Who will assess? How to assess the extent of the damage? Then if there is any possibility for further disasters, that also has to be assessed. And different agencies will be hand over these responsibilities. And we have to have a particular plan about those agencies who will handle all these things and who will effectively manage all these things. And then the restoration and building activities has to be started, and it should keep and maintain all the required protocols in the building purposes. So that protocols has to be mentioned, and effective people should be called upon to hand over this particular duty, and all these details should be there in the disaster response plan. And diseases has to be prevented during the returning back of these people to the community. So such things has to be taken care by the medical team. So who will be helping us in that situation? Those details should also be there. So it has been noted, and the studies has shown us that the effective communication is required to convey these things to the people. Once the disaster response plan is ready, or during the preparedness of this particular plan itself, government can communicate or warn the people of the community that such an event may occur. And the first priority is to avoid any disaster at any stage. And if it's not possible, the disaster is imminent, then in that case the people should be educated and should be given enough support. And if required, mock drills and rehearsal should be done in order to get the people prepare enough or respond in a very faster way. So when communication is concerned, the reliable agencies should be depended upon, and it is very important that the communication agencies should not create any kind of panic among the people. So these communication should be there always, starting from the warning stage to the recovery stage. So these communication also has a very large impact on the management of disaster in an effective way. So the care should be taken here in selecting the communication agencies so that they will try to help the people by not creating panicking, and help giving them enough support and confidence to face this particular situation. And it has been noted that the response of the people and the mitigation of the disaster is highly effective when this disaster response plan is very strong. So if a disaster is going to happen, it is considered as an emergency always. So this disaster response plan can also be considered as an emergency response plan or emergency preparedness plans. We are going to face an emergency, so it can be considered as an emergency preparedness plan. And when this plan is getting activated, once it's for sure that this disaster cannot be avoided and it has to be, people has to face that particular disaster. In that case, this particular plan get into action, and it has various phases. Search and rescue, evacuation, logistic management, all these things comes under the emergency preparedness plan. Once it get activated, we have to implement all the minute details which we already have written down in that particular document regarding each stage. For example, if we consider the search and rescue operations, the personnel who are already been given charge should turn up at the place immediately, and it actually involved 2-3 stages. First, we have to locate the victims if there are any, and then rescue them, and first aid should be given and transport them to the necessary medical facilities. And evacuation is the primary stage, and sometimes we may not get the time to evacuate the people, and sometimes the evacuation may not be complete. And the logistics management planning should also be there, and all those plans or checklists should be done during the disaster aftermath, or during the happening of that particular disaster. And at the site of every disaster point, we will have a medical health team. And how do these medical people respond to this particular disasters? Their main aim is to prevent and avoid the different types of outbreaks, pandemics, etc. So they will rapidly assess the major type of diseases that may be possible during such a time. Many people are living together in a small place, so there are chances of outbreaks of many diseases. So they should take an inventory of such diseases and try their best to prevent these diseases by improving the living conditions of the people at that particular temporary housing or whatever. And then if we have to prevent this particular diseases, enough surveillance, close monitoring should be there. Each person should be watched very carefully, and that surveillance system should be there. And if it has been reported that the outbreak of any disease is there, then rapid assessment, prompt treatment should be given, and the immediate action should be taken in order to prevent the further spread of this particular disease. And the disease management is actually include the prevention of further outbreaks or prevention of new diseases in the camps. Another important factor is the psychological response of this particular victims of the disaster, and there are many kinds of psychological response from the part of the victims. There should be emotional effects, cognitive effects, interpersonal effects, physical effects. Most of the people will be losing their homes and jobs and relatives, so they will be in a trauma. The most common psychological condition these victims are facing is depression, various stages of depression. So in order to help those people, these particular disaster management agencies, especially NGOs, will set up their particular counseling centers to help these people. And if it's necessary, after the assessment, they will provide medical help, and they will refer them to the medical practitioner. So these are the major points of the disaster response plan and during its activation, and these are the references, and thank you.